What's up, everyone? This is Michael Velasquez, and a new podcast episode of Mysteries of Michigan has just been released. I'll put a link in the description for Podbean, you guys to subscribe. I highly recommend you do. I have nothing else to say, so you guys sit back and enjoy. Thank you.
Mysteries of Michigan. And welcome to Mysteries of Michigan. I am your host, Tom, back at you again. It's been a while. I realize that, and I do apologize. There is a good reason. Somebody very dear to me has went ahead and hooked me up with a new software program for my podcasts, and being the idiot that I am, I have no idea how to use it. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to use it. Still don't know everything, but I figured I needed to get a show out there. It's been almost, I think, 3 months since the last show came out, and it's been a while, so I need to get something out there. This new software should help the production values, although you may not see it right away. Hope you like the new intro. Let me know on my Facebook page. But with that being said, this is the second show, and originally the second show I was going to be having an interview with a young lady out of Vernon, Michigan, who recently had a paranormal encounter, and that didn't work out. The logistics of getting us together and me trying to figure out this software, I couldn't get it done in time for me to get it done for the second show. I wanted to get another show out, so that will be hopefully on the third show. I don't see why it can't be, but with that being said, this show here, being paranormally involved in this show, I wanted to just kind of give you an insight background into how I got into the paranormal. There are two defining instances that have stuck with me, and the first one got me thinking about it. The next one, definitely I knew there was something out there, and I want to go over that real quick with you, and then I want to talk about the UFO video out on YouTube right now. It was taken in Michigan in late October. This video, oh my gosh, this thing's incredible. I'm going to be posting it on my Facebook page, and I want you all to go there and look at this video. It is, I'll describe it later on in the show, but this thing is incredible. So with that in mind, I just want to go and talk, or actually set up an advertisement from Prism to just introduce themselves again and let you know what they're all about. So this is a quick
The
little ad
Paranormal
from
Research
Prism.
and
Right
Investigative
back.
Society of Michigan is a family-operated paranormal research group based out of mid-Michigan. Formed in 2010, Prism has conducted numerous investigations that have yielded some very interesting results. With a team of true believers and skeptics alike, Prism assures you of the most comprehensive and accurate investigation possible. If you feel you are having paranormal activity or any activity you cannot explain, please contact Prism at 989-413-0430, or you can find them on Facebook at PRISOM. As with any Prism investigation, yours will be done free of charge, and all steps will be taken to ensure your privacy. Again, if If you have any paranormal activity or activity you cannot explain, please contact Prism at 989-413-0430 or find them on Facebook. Prism, the Paranormal Research and Investigative Society of Michigan.
As I stated before
serving
in the first
Michigan
episode,
and beyond.
we went over the Prism investigation of the Dice Road Cemetery, and I got to tell you, that was something else. So, people have asked me, how have I got into the paranormal? And it's quite simply, I've been a witness to it. Even at a young age, I never really knew if ghosts existed, but I witnessed a lot of things that I didn't really understand. So as I grew up, I started to get a little bit more into it. Never really saw something definitive, but always knew that there was something. I'd turn around and thought I'd see something just vanish, but just chalk that up to my imagination. Story for another time. Can't tell you how many times I thought I have seen a UFO, which is actually that. I could not identify the object in the sky. Numerous times. I used to be a very, very knowledgeable ufologist, and it was actually the paranormal aspect of my life that got me out of the ufology. I had a couple instances, and it was the last one that I had to get into the paranormal investigation society side of it. So, quickly, talking about the first definitive time I thought I saw a spirit, it was going to be 1996, late fall, early winter, late November, early December. I had a son that was going on 2. His name is Michael. You might remember him from our first show when he was one of our investigators at Dice Road. But we were living in Carlton, Michigan at the time, and I got home from work. The wife worked late at the hospital, so it was just Michael and I. And at the time, the PlayStation was the big video game console at the time, and I took a shower and decided to relax. It was a Friday night, didn't have to work the next day, that wanted to relax. So popped in a game of NHL 95. And the way the room was set up, we had the living room, I had the TV, there's a little opening for the dining room, which we used as Michael's toy room, and we had the entertainment center set up to where I could open the door and the glass would show a reflection of Michael, so I could keep an eye on him while I did my thing. And he was out there playing with his toys and didn't think anything of it, and then I started hearing him making noise. You know, 2 years old, or just short of 2 years old, he was starting to talk. And he was talking. I thought that was kind of cute, him talking to nobody. He must be playing with one of his dolls. Well, I just happened to catch him out of the corner of my eye, and let me tell you, when they say your heart skips a beat, it actually does. Out of the corner of my eye, in that reflection, I saw a man kneeling over my son. And I'll be honest with you, I froze. I didn't know what to do. I literally froze and just couldn't catch my breath. In this reflection, I saw that the man stood up, and I turned around and looked at him, and he smiled at me. And all this time, Michael is staring at him. So then I kick in. The instinct kicks in. Who is this guy? Why is he in my house? And what is he doing with my son? I get up, and as I get up, he turns around and walks into the kitchen, which is right a doorway away. And as you turn to the right, you go past the refrigerator and the stove, and there's the door leading outside. I get out of my chair and bolt towards him, and there is no way that this guy could have gotten any farther than the refrigerator, just around the corner. I get into the kitchen, and there's nobody in there. Not a soul in there. So I start really freaking out. I run back into the room, pick up Michael, not knowing who this guy is and what he wants. Pick up Michael, and there's a bedroom, a bathroom, and a laundry room, all adjacent to the kitchen. I check every one of those rooms. There's nobody in there. There's a walk-through closet that goes from bedroom to bedroom. I checked every bedroom, I checked every room, I checked every closet. Nothing. And the scary part about this is every door was locked with the lock on the doorknob and with the deadbolt. There's no way somebody is getting out of this house and deadbolting the door unless they have a key, which he doesn't have a key. I'm freaking out. I am walking through this house looking for this man that was in my house. I saw him plain as day, just as you would stand up and turn around and see somebody standing there. No idea who this man was. Freak out. I don't know what to do. I just sat there and held Michael on the couch, and we eventually fell asleep. And the next morning I get up and I tell my wife about it, and she freaks out. So for the next couple days while she's at work, I'm on edge. You know, I've got Michael on my side or by my side everywhere I go. If I go to the bathroom, he's going with me. If I go somewhere into another room, he's going with me. So just ironically, it had to have been maybe a month and a half later, I'm going through some old pictures of my wife, and literally my jaw drops. Staring at me in a picture is this man I saw. I asked my wife, who is this? That is her father, who passed away 3 months before I met her. I've never seen a picture of her dad when he was in his healthy state. He had an accident at work, and he was very ill and he was dependent on the family, put it that way. I'd never seen him in the healthy state that these pictures were showing. I said, oh my God, this is the man who I saw talking to Michael. She cried. She bawled. She called her mother, my mother-in-law. She cried. She bawled. This man who I saw looking over my son talking to him as a 2-year-old talks to him, gets up, smiles at me, and walks away, is a man I've never met before, I've never seen before, but he's watching over my son. I am to this day convinced of that happening. I don't even know if Michael knows this story or not. So Michael, if you're hearing this, this might be the first time you hear it. But it is amazing. There are times I would hear Michael, as he got older, talking to nobody in particular. You know what? I just chalked it up to Grandpa being around him. That was the first time I have had what I consider a legitimate paranormal experience. There's no other way I can describe that. That piqued my curiosity. Now, what threw my curiosity over the edge was years later, and this had to be 2005. Yes. My middle son, Andrew, was a year old. He was born on Christmas Eve. And at this time, we were living in Owasso. And we were living in a house at the time that was, it was about 95 years old at the time. It was built in 1910. It was an old house. Now, if you're not familiar with Owasso is an old town, a lumbering town. It's chock full of Indians. According to people, very, very haunted. Now, this particular episode happened December 26th, 2005, 2 days after my son turned 1 year old. We were at my parents, who live up in Saginaw, for the day spending Christmas with the family. And we got home, and it was late at night, and it's a 2-story house, and I walked up the stairs, and I've got my son in bed, or my son in my hands, and I'm walking into his room. I can't turn the light on. I got my hands full. So I walk him in, and as I'm setting him into the crib, plain as day, in my head, that's how I sensed it, was in my head, I hear somebody yelling, "Get down, duck down." Normally I would be like, what the heck is that? But instinctually, it was so convincing and so right there that I did duck down. As I ducked down, I actually felt and saw a large shadow come up the wall in front of me. Now, this crib is sitting right up against the wall. This shadow came up in front of me, and it was not a nice feeling shadow. This shadow I felt was evil. Now this is this shadow. So this shadow, as it's rising up, I can not only see it rising up as I'm ducking down, I can feel it. And as I say, this thing is pure. I feel it's pure, unadulterated evil. And I feel this thing envelop all around me. I felt very tight in the chest, and I held Andrew very close to me, and I feel it go right over me. Just go right over me in the air. Now behind me in the room, it's a beach chair, I guess. It's a Red Wing folding beach chair is the only way I can describe it. I used to use that chair to sit in there and hold Andrew at night. Well, this chair was leaning up against the wall in a way that it would not fall over. And this thing had been up there for days like that, not touched. This chair, as this shadowy mass, I guess I'd call it, goes over me, I feel it go over to the next wall. I turn around and I see it at the next wall and then vanish. And as it vanishes, that chair knocks forward. Not only was it a visual presence, obviously it was a physical presence, because that chair was not moving on its own. Whatever was in this house moved that chair. And I got to tell you, that house, we lived in that house, we moved in 2000, late 2000 I believe it was. And you know, we'd get little things. That was the first time I've actually had a definitive experience. And after that, I would get at night. It was a 2-story house, as I mentioned. The stairs would creak like there's nobody's business. That was my alarm system. If anybody was in that house coming upstairs, those stairs would creak. Well, I can't tell you how many times I would get out of bed hearing because those stairs are creaking. My wife calls me one day at work and says, "Hey," and trust me, my wife is a complete and utter skeptic. She kind of thinks I'm nuts, but that's why I love her. She calls me and says, "Do you hear voices at the house at times?" And I said, "I don't hear them at times. I hear them all the time." And her response to me is, "I'm hearing a conversation in this house that I cannot find out where it's coming from." So this house is a very active house. I have an EVP, or I had an EVP until my thing died, and I was an idiot and didn't save it to a computer, but I had an EVP of somebody answering me a question. I simply asked, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" And the response was, "I live here." Now, I have no idea. I've tried to check the history of who lived in that house. The only people I know that lived in the house was a gentleman before us. He did not die in that house. Was he coming back and checking on the house? I don't know. What was the evil presence that I felt at the house? Again, I don't know. All I know is that house is pretty eerie. I mean, there are things I've seen or I've felt and I've heard in that house that I just, at my new house, I don't feel anything at all. So after that incident, I really truly started looking into what is going on with this paranormal, with the paranormal situation. And the more I got into it, the more I looked at it. And in 2010, I formed Prism, because there is something out there, ladies and gentlemen. And I have a lot of non-believers that I talk to that make fun of me, but you know what? If you are a believer and you have somebody that is just mocking you, simply tell them this. So are you mocking me on a subject that you have done no studying, have no interest on, and you have no knowledge on? Or are you mocking me because you don't understand it? I tend to believe it's both. Most people will mock you if it's not the mainstream views. Look, there is so much more out there that we don't understand that is being hidden from us, that it only makes sense that people mock us. People are very I don't even know how to describe it. They believe what they want to believe. If they don't want to believe that ghosts exist, if they don't want to believe aliens exist, they're not going to believe it. Even if a UFO lands in their front yard, they're going to say, "Oh, that's a hoax." If they have a ghost walk right by them, that was a shadow. That's somebody walking by me, creating a shadow. People are going to believe what they want to believe. Seeing is believing, but it's also a little bit of faith. I am a man of faith also. Does my paranormal beliefs counteract my faith? No, I don't think so. If I see a ghost, that tells me that there is a spirit, that spirit is restless, it hasn't left yet. Eventually it's going to go into heaven. If I see a UFO and an alien being, does that mean that there's no aliens? Well, there's a couple theories on that. Could it be that these are the devil's minions? Or they're demons? I think that might be a very valid point. Or does it mean that God has created another life form? Does that not make God even greater? It doesn't mean God doesn't exist. It just means that we don't understand. We're not meant to understand that stuff at all. We find all this stuff out in the afterlife, in our next life. So, those are the two instances that I had. That the first one piqued my curiosity in the paranormal when I saw my father-in-law, who had passed away at about almost 2 years prior to that. Never seen him before. I now know what he looks like. I think he's a good man. He's watching over my son. The second situation I had, not so happy and jolly. That one, I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was a one-time incident, but I've never felt that presence in that house since. But it was an evil presence, and it was there. I mean, I don't know who that voice was either. That's the crazy part. To this day, I heard a voice say, "Get down," and I had to get down because this thing was going right over me. I don't even know what would have happened if I didn't get down, but I don't think I had a choice. So, those are the two instances that got me into the paranormal, got me into the Prism aspect of life, and that's where we are today. I'm hosting Mysteries of Michigan. So, alrighty guys, we're going to do one more promo here, and then I'm going to get into the UFO video that's on YouTube that's making the rounds out of Michigan, and we'll go over that, but you've got to see this thing. It is amazing. So, again, thank you much, and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, guys. Alright, listen, this one isn't going to be too in-depth, but it's going to be in-depth enough that I'm going to want you to go and we'll look at this video. Alright, Clyde Lewis has a show called Ground Zero. It's on nightly. Saw a YouTube, or actually I saw a Facebook post of him, I don't know if you'd call it promoting, but of this video. Clyde Lewis thinks it's legit. I looked at this video. The video was taken in a small village outside of Port Huron, Michigan, which is just to the east in Michigan. And the cameraman came upon this craft in the sky and got out and started filming it. Well, the craft started coming closer and he became frightened and started running away from the craft. The crazy and impressive thing about this video, well, there's numerous things, but most UFO videos that you see out there, you see an object in the sky and there's nothing to give it any size or any proportion or any distance. This particular video, he got out of his car and he started filming, ran away from his car. This video shows this craft moving to his car. Now let me back up a little bit. As he's filming this craft from a distance, you can see a beam of light, and it's not a solid beam of light. What it is, it looks almost like it's mapping something, like a laser show pointing at the ground. You see the craft, which is a white cylinder-like craft, or a saucer-shaped craft, I guess it would be. And farther down, you see this beam, these mapping lights, I guess it would be. And I can't even describe it, but it was incredible. But the best part of this video is when this craft comes towards him and stops above his car and starts scanning, I guess would be the way to put it, his car. You can see the UFO, and you can see the light, the lasers, I guess would be shining on this gentleman's car. The best part of this video is you can see the car and you can see the object in the same screen. You can't and they're close, guys. They're close, and it is amazing. You see this thing scanning this car, and you start to see it rotate, and you start to see it rotate. All the while, this guy is filming it, and it's actually, to me, the first time I saw this, it's actually sent chills down my spine. Some people have called it a drone. Some people have said, that's just some toy. I don't know, guys. If it's a toy, it's a pretty impressive toy, because the way they got this thing to sit there and hover and start circling and spinning, and when it's doing this, it's not wobbling at all. It is a solid, still spin. There's not much noise. The only noise I can hear out of that video is, of course, the gentleman running, but there's a low droning noise in the background. I don't know if it's from that UFO or if there's something else going on there, but that's the only noise you hear from this. It is an impressive video. You need to go to Mysteries of Michigan, their Facebook page, and you need to see this video because it's impressive. I don't know. My first impression is this thing looks extremely legit. And I want you to look at it and tell me what you think about this, because this is something else. If this is real, this is crazy. This just breaks all the rules. And it's just crazy. So to end the video, you can see he's got the car in frame and he's got the UFO in frame, and all of a sudden the UFO stops scanning the car and starts moving up. It starts moving up faster, 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 and boom, it's gone. Just like that. This is the part that worries me. I don't know. It almost looks like the lights got turned off on it. Does that mean it was somebody's little remote control toy? If it was the remote control toy, it wasn't little. And usually something like that, you're going to hear it. You're going to hear it. How they got that laser to show up like that, it's crazy. You got to see the video to see the lasers on this. It defies any explanation I can find on it. Just go to Michigan, Mysteries of Michigan. I'll have it posted. Do me a favor and comment on it. Tell me what you think it is. Tell me if I'm wrong when thinking I think this thing is legit. So that is going to be the show today. I appreciate you listening. Keep the comments coming in. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me of any legends you've heard of in Michigan and even around Michigan. We are not just about Michigan. I'm centered in Michigan. I want to focus on Michigan, but if there is something going on in the United States, let's hear about it. Something I want to talk about probably next show, because this next show is going to come up pretty quick, is I just want to talk to you really quickly about this Fukushima plant number 4 nuclear reactor in Japan. If you haven't been reading on it, I want you to read on it. This is not a good thing, guys. This is going to be pretty darn dangerous. There's already a huge amount of radiation leaking out into the Pacific Ocean that you're not hearing about. And lo and behold, they are finding trace amounts of radiation that in the air and in the ground that are coming, what they believe, from the Fukushima nuclear reactor. And for those of you who don't know, Fukushima was in the center of the earthquake in Japan a couple years ago, and it is severely crippled, and they don't know how to stop it. It's melting down, and they don't know what to do to stop it. So I'm going to go into greater detail on that next show. Again, thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. This is Tom, and I'm out.